Australia is in May and June. We
Oh,
did a
okay.
tour in September. That one's long gone. But our big main tour is at the end of the American tour, which begins next week in America.
We got it, the 11th. And
And you,
and you're in Australia now.
I'm in Coogee Beach, New South Wales, and it's the last day of summer, and I just had a swim in the ocean.
That is a
nice.
great way to start the day.
It is. It seriously is.
Well, you're in for a shock when you come to LA. We're actually having like a winter with snow, and it's bonkers over here right now.
I know it's really hard. I got to pack. It's like summer here, and I got to pack knowing I'm coming to winter, and it's sort of like a hard thing to get my head around to put my furry coats and my warm undies in my suitcase when I want to have board shorts and flip-flops.
There are, to be fair, there are still those here that don't really acknowledge winter, as cold as it is for us right now, that are in their board shorts and t-shirts and flip-flops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wear a
That
wet
happens everywhere. Yeah.
wear a wetsuit and you can go in the ocean. You'll be fine.
Jesus, not
All
here.
right.
Maybe on the East Coast.
What?
Yeah.
Not in the Pacific.
No, why not?
Because it's fucking cold.
Oh,
So, well, we'll be sorry to drag you away, but happy to see you here.
Okay, no worries.
okay. So you're coming to LA and you're doing this massive tour for to support the this album, Hypnagogue.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Yeah.
correct.
What's that?
Yeah, Hypnagogue, which you call the most prog rock thing the church has ever done.
Yeah. Of course. Well, can I say, as soon as I say that, 1,000 voices pop up going, this isn't prog rock. What's prog rock? And then all the people who discuss prog rock, they can't agree amongst themselves what is prog rock. So I'm using that term in its broadest sense. I'm using it in its broadest sense, not in its whatever that might mean to whichever magazine is writing about prog rock. It's prog rock to me. It doesn't have I've taken out the things I didn't like about prog rock. And I used to love my prog rock records, except I never liked the gratuitous time changes. I didn't like it when there was this great song going along and then suddenly something would go. I never liked that. I never dug that. And I used to think, even before I knew what the word gratuitous meant, the teenage me would listen to it and think, that's fucking gratuitous. So I've taken that bit out. There's no gratuitous time changes. It's prog rock in the sense of its intentions, its ambitions. It's more like The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway than it is like Anarchy in the UK. Let's say that on a huge scale. It purports to tell a story. It sort of has a moral, I guess, though the story and the morals are up to you. And there's sort of some long songs and some sort of weird bits where I guess I'm asking the listener to have a bit of a leap of faith. But it's not hardcore prog rock like, I don't know, somebody could say, put it on a prog record and it would make my record sound like the Dead Boys. You know what I mean? So there's always something more proggy and there's always something more punky or something more psychedelic or more alt country or more indie or more classic. No matter where you are on the scale, when we discuss these classifications, if it was a university degree, one like in university, you can say in an excavation, okay, we've now reached the Egyptian register. And everybody, all the archaeologists all around the world will go, yes, we agree. That is what we all commonly agree is the Egyptian register, and so on and so on. But in rock and roll, nobody really has, if it ever does, and hopefully it doesn't, until it sort of actually solidifies as a university course. When one says prog rock or punk rock or classic rock or whatever these words we use, they're all just approximate and relative. You know what I mean? So, you know, okay, that's my spiel done.
No, it's too bad that you actually. It almost sounds like you're defending it. It is because and again, this sounds like an old person, because everyone now on social media, whereas before people were reading the articles in music magazines, you know, in the music press and responding to that. Now anybody on social media can hear you say it's a prog rock record, and then they can debate every note of it.
There you go. There you go. And that's a whole other can of worms altogether as well. Once upon a time, you released an album, and very, very slowly the reviews would come in, and might take 6 months to a year before you could really assess what had happened. These days, the reviews are instant, and not only that, but everybody. And then, you know, so I would yell out to one of my friends, I got a good review. And then they say, what in? And I go, blah, blah, blah. And they'd say, what's that? And then you might go, oh, well, actually, it's just a bloke who does a podcast with 8 listeners. You know what I mean? Or it could be something like Pitchfork or some important, but there's no longer this defining thing where it used to be New Musical Express. That's where you want. Once upon a time, you wanted a good review in New Music Express. That was the last word. If they, Melody Maker or Sounds, I'm talking in England now.
Yeah.
And in America, it wasn't Rolling Stone, not for me anyway. They never fucking know what they're talking about, except for David Frick. There was magazines like Circus and Cream and Rock Scene. I'm talking a long time ago now, in the 70s and 80s. And then later on, the one that Playboy started. What was that called? Remember that? No, not Playboy, Penthouse. He started a magazine.
Oh, Spin magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was where you wanted the good reviews. These days, you don't know. I mean, anybody can start a website and give you a good or a bad review, and then you can go forth and quote that forever, going, look at this 10-star review I got. But it could be, as I say, by your granny who's designed a website.